Now that Thor has become the newest master of the Odin force, will he be able to overcome the raging god storm inside of his own hammer? Well, let's hop into the pages of Thor issue number 23 and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue actually starts off with a little flashback to Thor's earliest days of training to use Mjolnir. His father, the king, even back then was amazed how the hammer seemed so light for him, yet not whenever he tried to wield it. This is a lovely little snapshot, too, of a time when Thor and his father actually genuinely seemed happy, especially because it feels like the last several years worth of stories we always have Thor and Odin absolutely at each other's throats. The two actually feel so comfortable and vulnerable around each other, they even open up about the topic of mortality, and that is, can gods like them die? The answer is yes, certainly, probably at some point. But Odin says that Thor will not die before all the stars in the sky go dark, and as far as Odin himself, when he lays his head down for the last time, he will have already become a great legend. Now, back in the present, Thor is still duking it out with the Tempest. He unlocked the full power of the Odin Force last issue, and while it allows him to greatly punch above his weight class without the use of his trademark hammer, King Thor still desperately needs to be careful, because if he exudes too much god power too quickly, he's going to put himself into the Odin sleep, or I guess we can officially rename it the Thor sleep now. And hey, just because he doesn't have use of his hammer doesn't mean Thor isn't going into this battle without a magical weapon. With Sif's help, Thor manages to use the sword that controls the Bifrost to tie the Tempest up. So basically what I'm trying to tell you here is that Thor is so powerful now he can make his enemies quite literally taste the rainbow when he wants. The Tempest is far from shook though, saying that it can't possibly ever be destroyed so long as Mjolnir still exists, and well, Thor has already been batting that idea around in his mind, and it's very clear what he needs to do next. To end this threat, Thor is going to have to destroy Mjolnir. And in a beautiful bit of storytelling symmetry, the only place to properly destroy Mjolnir is to take it back to the dwarven forges of its birth. It's there with a heavy heart, and under the pressure of a million suns, Thor strikes down Mjolnir one last time, crushing it into pieces. This last act actually being the thing that finally pushes him over the edge and forces him into the Odin sleep for 4 whole months, actually. By the time King Thor reawakens, his friends and family have gathered by his bedside. Thor has won the day, defeated the god storm, and reclaimed his hammer, but it still doesn't feel like a good victory. He lost so very much along the way. Not only his trusty weapon, but his father Odin too, whose funeral Thor ended up missing because he was sleeping. But for once, in what has ultimately been a pretty dark run, it seems like there may actually be a little light at the end of the tunnel. Angela, who had before in this run come to Thor as an agent of criticism and shame, actually comes bearing gifts. While Thor's been asleep, Angela and the angels went to work trying to repair the hammer. Naturally, they're no dwarves, but they think they did a pretty good job. And oh me oh my, would you look at all those wonderful cracks on the hammer. Mjolnir now officially looks like the one that Jane Foster is going to be using in the brand new upcoming Love and Thunder movie. Huzzah for multimedia synergy, am I right? Well, Thor is certainly happy with all of Angela's effort. At the end of the day, this whole thing just feels wrong. Yes, Mjolnir has been reforged, but now it's just a regular old hammer with no god tempest to give it its power. But what if I told you a new hammer for a new age got itself a brand new power source? Mjolnir is no longer going to be drawing its mystical essence from the god storm, because it can now draw its essence from, well, the soul of Odin. Yeah, that's right, the departed king will now always be by his son's side when he needs him most as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Thor issue number 23, everyone, the big conclusion to the God of Hammer storyline, and I must say Donny Cates really went all out right at the very end. By completing the story of the God Storm, this newest Thor run basically closes the page on an almost decade-long storyline started by Aaron, and I must say I was quite happy where it all ultimately ended up. In this run, Cates really did explore the animosity and friction between Thor and his father. Maybe it was born out of jealousy, who's to say for certain, but now in this new Cates era, Odin is the hammer, essentially. And there's just something that feels right about that. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what happens next for King Thor in this new era. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one a very much deserved 8 out of 10. It was good stuff. Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.